Thanks to the witnesses. This is very helpful. So a couple of different topics. Dr. Felbaugh-Brown, I was glad to hear you say that you believe the current Mexican administration has been doing an improved job compared to the previous. That's heartening. What more, as we're in dialogue with Mexico over tariffs and other issues, what are more steps that we should be pressing them to take to continue this better direction?
Well, one of the most challenging or most important role is to be prosecuting political enablers, corrupt government officials, corrupt officials in security forces. That, of course, requires a set of tools, one of which is criminal investigation, such as in money laundering, but it also requires enabling the existence of a broader, healthy civil society, where investigative journalism is not suppressed, where freedom of speech,
Mexico has among the worst track record in the world in terms of the murder of journalists.
Absolutely. Where oversight bodies such as anti-corruption oversight bodies exist. And we see a significant reduction in independence and balance of checks and in a reduction in checks and balances in Mexico. So that's very concerning to me, even as we have an executive that is far more willing to go to the cartels, the broader environment that enables going after criminality is eroding in Mexico and continues to be eroding. And the second aspect is the one that I mentioned. Because of this pervasive culture of corruption, because of decades of complicity, it is essential that U.S. law enforcement agents are able to operate in Mexico in cooperation with Mexican government to be conducting investigations to prevent political manipulations and criminal intimidation. So expanded authority and presence are fundamental.
Thank you. So second question, much of the discussion today has focused on, as it should, TCOs and narcotics trafficking, but TCOs make an awful lot of money on human trafficking as well. You talked about kind of the broad spectrum of both legal and illegal activities. In some of my visits to the southern border, I've been told by U.S. officials that some of the cartels make more money on human trafficking than they do on narcotics trafficking. I have concerns that the current reorg at the State Department is reducing both the international narcotics control function and also the human trafficking function. Deputy Secretary Regas was with us last week and was saying we're trying to put more of these functions within the regional offices. But TCOs, for example, you've been using the example, Mr. Urben, of Mexican cartels with Chinese, money laundering. I'm not sure that the regional offices, I'm worried that the regional offices can't do the job of really tackling TCOs that operate in more than one region. And increasingly, it seems like a lot of the TCO activity is not just confined to a region, but is more global. Is that a fair concern?
Oh, I think it's definitely a fair concern. I mean, these are global networks that operate throughout the world, right? And that threat, obviously, we're focused on the threat from Mexico, obviously, in the United States, but the networks where essentially the Mexican cartels are in partnership with Chinese organized crime, Chinese money launderers. They work in concert together. So you need to attack these threats throughout the world where we can develop access points and the ability to leverage our resources to essentially dismantle them. So it's throughout our hemisphere. You can talk about Panama, you can talk about Colombia, you can talk about elsewhere around the globe, Africa, Southeast Asia, but the threat is similar, and it's what I like to call the Mexican cartel, Chinese organized crime playbook plays out throughout the world.
That is a concern I have, and I think we just need to monitor it as a committee when the reorganization is done. The thought that we can just take these areas of focus and just put them in the regional offices and they will be sufficient with a smaller footprint of staff, I deeply worry about it. Mr. Urben, I'm going to finish with you. Sometimes at hearings I like to ask something that's not even about the hearing, but I just want to take advantage of an expertise. You have an expertise because of your long service with the DEA. There's a proposal that's been floated. I'm agnostic on it, but because I just haven't dug into it enough. There's a proposal that's been floated to consolidate the DEA and the ATF. In your professional opinion, good idea, bad idea, or what should we be looking at in such a proposal?
So in terms of consolidating, I think you have to maintain the DEA specifically at this point in time. The DEA has demonstrated over decades the most significant intelligence source network and the ability to take down transnational organized crime. And I could give you other examples, and I'm not just defending DEA because I'm a former agent. I'm looking for what's the best U.S. government apparatus to take down the Mexican cartels and Chinese money launderers. And in terms of the precision that you need the DEA at this specific point in time to do what we're talking about here today. Right? They've done this against Hezbollah. They've done this against other foreign terrorist organizations. So I don't think you should change DEA in any way. Whether you were going to add ATF, there are complements in terms of the way DEA and ATF operate, in terms of who we target, how we gather evidence. But in terms of DEA itself, I don't think you can consolidate it and not allow it to operate as it is today.
Say what we should be looking at in any such proposal is if the proposal dilutes